Hey guys, how y'all doing? My name's AG, and today I'm going to be talking about some very important MLB news with my friend here, Mr. Peterson. How you doing, Mr. Peterson?
Doing fine, AG. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. So I just wanted to start off this podcast with probably the biggest news of this MLB offseason, with Juan Soto leaving the Yankees to go to their biggest arch rivals in Queens, the New York Mets, signing Juan Soto for a 15-year, $765 million deal, the most lucrative deal in sports history, beating out Shohei Ohtani's $700 million deal that he signed with the Dodgers last offseason. How do you even express $765 million for one player?
AG, what would you do with $765 million, AG?
I don't even know where to start. $765 million is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking about this last offseason when
first thing you'd buy.
First thing I'd buy, I'd probably buy like a big mega mansion with that. I'll probably buy, like a bunch of furniture and stuff to fill it in, I guess.
Right, okay.
But then I still have a bunch left over. I'm a mega millionaire.
I bet you would. So, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
So basically, it's a 15-year, $765 million deal. There's an opt-out after 5 years. Juan Soto can potentially be a free agent in 5 years, but the Mets can void that opt-out if they agree to pay him $4 more million per year. Because right now he's earning $51 million per year. They can raise that up and void it if they pay him $55 million a year for the last 10 years of the deal. So that deal can potentially reach $800 million in total. That's even more crazy money if you really think about it. That's mind-boggling.
$800 million. That is a lot of money. Plus,
not to mention the a $75 million signing bonus, and he gets a free suite in Citi Field for him and his family. And I think that's the deciding factor, because Yankees owner didn't really want to give him a suite, because the last two Yankees captains, Aaron Judge and Derek Jeter, they didn't get a free suite.
They didn't get a free suite.
No, they just got like a
shameful.
Exactly, they just got a discount off of that. so then they didn't think that Juan Soto should be able to get that. They did offer him.
AG, let me ask you this: how much does a suite cost? They gave them a discount. What does that mean? What is like the retail cost of a suite?
So for the suite in Citi Field, I believe it is about, off the top of my head, I guess around 500,000-600,000. Maybe it can exclude to a couple million. But yeah, it really depends. It could skyrocket. But the point is, they decided to give him a free suite, and I feel like that was the deciding factor. And in my mind, that is because Juan Soto didn't go to the Mets for the money. Because again, the Yankees' final offer, according to Bleacher Report and ESPN, I've heard, was 16 years and $760 million.
Okay, 16 years.
16 years, yes.
Huh.
So it's only $5 million less in one added year to Juan Soto's contract that he officially agreed to with the Mets. But with the Mets, there's no deferred money, unlike the Yankees offer, which there was, and there wasn't any opt-out, I'm not sure, in the Yankees contract. And the point of what I'm trying to get is the Mets. He chose the Mets because Juan Soto thought that the Mets had the brighter future over the Yankees, and I'm not trying to be a biased Mets.
Let me ask you: you think there's truth to that, though? You think the Mets? Of course. Do you think the Mets have a chance?
They just made a run to the National League Championship Series, beating out the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
And they were 2 wins away from getting an invite to the World Series. So they have a bunch of young players like Francisco Lindor. He's only in his early 30s. He just got second place in the MVP for the National League. He was only beat out by Shohei Ohtani, but obviously he had a crazy season at the play, 50-50 season, first DH to win it. Congratulations to him. But
congratulations.
Yeah, of course. But other than Juan Soto, Aaron Judge he's getting old. He's like 34. Garrett Cole.
Oh, that's so old.
Yeah, he's going to be 34. Garrett Cole's already 34.
Oh wow.
Giancarlo Stanton, their designated hitter, he's 35. Okay. They have an aging core, and they only had 2 prospects that are in the Bleacher Report's top 100 prospects, but one of them had a really bad year, according to like injuries and stuff that really hit his progress and all that. So yeah, again, I'm not trying to be biased here as a biased Mets fan. I'm very excited about this news, but he chose it because the Mets had the better future.
Okay.
Which is true because they have a lot of young players, including the emergence.
They have a lot of young players, right?
Of course, of the emergence of Mark Vientos, Francisco Alvarez, of course, led by Francisco Lindor, and they could create a bond together, Lindor and Soto, and of course, if Pete Alonso stays with the Mets, we're not exactly sure because I think he's looking for something that's over 180, 190 million over about 6-7 years. Because 2023, the Mets offered him 7-year, $156 million contract, which he rejected. So he signs the qualifying offer for a 1-year, $21.5 million deal.
Wow.
So he played under that this season. It was a great run. He was a big part of the New York Mets playoffs runs, especially for his home run in the bottom of the ninth against Milwaukee. Of course, he'll be a Mets legend for life.
Right.
So, and I've been hearing reports ever since the Mets signed Juan Soto that Pete Alonso's is going to end up in the Bronx because, and I've been hearing this before Juan Soto made his decision that the Yankees Pete Alonso was going to be the Yankees' plan B exactly. Was to sign Juan Soto because they have a hole at first base because obviously they didn't exercise Anthony Rizzo's $19 million contract because after he did pretty horribly this season in my opinion, and also in the playoffs as well. So he's a free agent now. He's an unrestricted free agent. So they have a hole at first base. No one else is really capable of playing first base really. I mean, and Pete Alonso could definitely fill that hole for defense and for offense too. They could be a big boost for their batting lineup.
Okay.
Of course, the Mets and David Stearns have reported saying that they would love to keep Pete Alonso. In their words, they would love to keep him. And David Stearns, when he was asked if they had the money to, they said they would, of course, and they would love to sign Pete Alonso if they had the money to. And of course they do. I mean, Steve Cohen has deep pockets, of course. I mean, we just saw the big contract with Juan Soto. But, of course, Pete Alonso hasn't exactly went to the Yankees yet. So the Yankees' plan B for now was they signed Max Fried to an 8-year, $218 million deal stolen from the Braves. He was the best left-hander on the market, next to Blake Snell, who signed with the Dodgers about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
For a similar deal. So, also a big concern for the Yankees at the time was starting pitching because they only had Garrett Cole, who was of course aging, a young emerging starter in Lewis Gill. And they kind of had a bunch of little guys who can fill up the rotation. Now they got Max Fried on an 8-year deal. Of course it's big money. It's big money. Me personally, I didn't expect him to get $218 million out of that. I guess he accepted that. So now they have a great starting pitcher to go along with Garrett Cole and Lewis Gill, and it also means for the rest of the big time free agent pitchers, including Corbin Burns. He was estimated to get about around $200 million, $220 million, but I feel like that estimate's gonna skyrocket because I feel like he was waiting for Max Fried to sign his deal first. I think he's the best starting pitcher on the market.
Wow. That's a big claim.
Of course, because after he was traded by Milwaukee to Baltimore before in the 2023 offseason. He did excellent, and even though Baltimore crashed out of the playoffs in the wild card, there's one person that you can't blame, in my opinion. I mean, there's obviously a lot of players that you can't blame for that, of course. But I think Corbin Burns was a big part of their record. They were chasing the Yankees for most of the season to the AL East title, and was a big part of getting them into the playoffs in the first place. Baltimore's going to need over $200 million at least to keep their ace. And I've been seeing the links with a few teams, of course the Yankees. I've been seeing links with the Mets. I've been seeing links with even the Dodgers before they signed Blake Snell though. So I don't think that's going to be really happening. And also the Boston Red Sox. Because my prediction originally was that Boston was going to sign either Max Fried or Corbin Burns. And then the Mets would sign whoever Boston didn't sign. But just last night, I was completely wrong. Red Sox go after Garrett Crotchet of the White Sox.
Really?
It was a big trade. He's the biggest name that this offseason, Garrett Crotchet, that you could trade for, because he had a big year in his first full year as a starter. Crotchet. this, the stats are insane for him. He reached the All-Star game for the first time, and even though Chicago had one of the historically the worst season in MLB history, he was a big part in getting the few wins that they even got. I think they only got about 30 wins.
My goodness. So let me ask you this question: next season, who do you predict being at the World Series next year? I know it's really, really far away. But,
yeah, of course. It's never too early to ask.
With what you know, who do you predict in the World Series next year, 2025?
That's a good question, Mr. P. So, basically on ESPN, a source from ESPN said after the Juan Soto side, the Mets would be second of winning the World Series, just behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, the reigning champions, of course. Then third,
right.
Yeah. Then third was the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
And you can't really be shocked about that, even though the Braves had a down year this year after getting knocked out by the Padres in the wild card round, just barely scraping a path into the playoffs. But obviously, and even though Ronald Acuna Jr., their superstar, even though he's going to be out at the beginning of the year that the Braves have said for opening day, he's not going to be there for opening day. But of course he will be there for the playoffs, and that's all that matters really for the second half of the season in the playoffs. So the Braves were third according to ESPN, and fourth. This was kind of a surprise, but if I realized it, like who else would it be? The New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Again, this was. Yeah, fourth.
Okay.
And again, this was probably a few hours after the Juan Soto signing, and this was before they signed Max Fried as well, because that's probably obviously helped their odds just a little bit. But I saw him fourth, and
all right, we have about a minute left, so let's wrap it up. So your predictions for 2025 are LA.
So I see the Dodgers making the World Series again with their impressive core. They kept a lot of players. They're keeping a lot of players. And for the American League, representing the American League, I think would be, if I had to guess, it's a tough one actually. It's a tough one. I'd have to go with probably Baltimore.
Nice.
Probably the Orioles.
I see that happening too.
I can see that happening. They signed Corbin Burns, and they just have a great run. Yankees kind of crashed out, I think.
They really did. They dropped the ball.
Yeah, they kind of dropped the ball. I think they kind of crashed out.
AG, thank you so much. We look forward to the next episode.
Of course. Thank you, Mr. P.